Special thanks to Kyvor, Mary McDowell, P, SomeGreatTurnabout, The Reaver, Ельхан, Yenrz, Jørgen, and StarStrux.
Is it really true? About my aunt?
I'm afraid so, Maya. There's no way Enid could have killed Dr. Gray by herself. And under the circumstances, there's no one else other than your Aunt Morgan.
That's terrible! Why? Why would my aunt—
Everything is going just as I predicted, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
Miss von Karma!
Why are you doing this? Why are you trying to take revenge on Nick? Nick had nothing to do with what happened to your dad.
Don't you have something better to be worrying about? Say, your own situation.
Looking down on me, even though we're the same age.
Are you done yet? You've caused me enough pain and suffering.
Not yet. My goal is to defeat you, and let the whole world know of your defeat.
But even if you do that, it won't bring your father back.
Whatever. In the meantime, let's bring this match to its conclusion, and then we'll know who the real winner is.
The court will now reconvene. Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you prove Miss Miney had a motive?
Yes, I believe I can. Miney and Dr. Gray have only one point of connection, and that is the car accident 1 year ago. The motive I'm looking for must be there. Miss Miney, please testify to this court about your car accident last year.
Huh? I thought, you wanted to, ask about my, motive. I, don't see the point in, bringing up the past.
Miss Miney, if you please.
Okay. I totally don't think it'll do any good, but... That was, last year, in May. Something really bad had happened at, my sister's clinic around then. And, the night of the accident, my sis was totally tired while she was driving. I was, totally pooped too, so I, fell asleep in the passenger seat. I, woke up because of a jolt, and, it was a sea of flames around me. I, opened the door and, got away.
I think I've heard of this incident.
It was all the talk on the tabloid shows day after day last year.
Yes, and there was talk about Dr. Gray drugging your sister, if I'm correct.
Those were merely rumors. Totally baseless gossip.
Yes. Mr. Wright, you may question the witness.
Right now, it's impossible to prove that Dr. Gray did in fact drug Miss Miney's sister.
Which means I'll have to work this from another angle. The bad thing that happened was the malpractice incident where 14 patients died, correct?
Yeah.
What was the cause of the mistake?
I heard it was 'cause the medicines, got mixed up.
Was that the fault of your sister, Miney?
No way! Dr. Gray, wanted to blame it on my sis.
Objection! That incident has nothing to do with our murder here. Besides, the police report has already documented that it was entirely Miney's fault.
Which means as far as the real facts are concerned, Miney is the one who made the mistake.
But, it really wasn't my sis.
If your sister was tired, why didn't you ask to switch places?
Huh? What are you talking about?
I meant switch drivers. If your sister was so tired, then you should have switched with her.
True.
But, I don't, have a driver's license.
This is news to me. I was not aware you didn't have your license, Miss Miney.
Objection! Miss Miney, that was a lame lie just now.
Like, what do you mean?
I know you had your license back then. This is a photo you took for the express purpose of getting a driver's license.
What is the meaning of this, Miss Miney?
That's right. Yeah, I had, like, a license, but I didn't get it until after the accident.
No, you had it. You had it at the time of the accident. Director Hottie, or the guy pretending to be him anyway, said so.
What? Are you talking about that perverted fake clinic director?
Yes, that perverted fake clinic director. And how did you know he was huge?
No one cares. Witness, when did you receive your driver's license?
Like last November.
November?
The accident happened last May. That's a half-year lapse in time, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
Without a license, the witness and her sister could not have switched drivers.
I'm, like, glad you get it, but, like, even if I had my license, I, like, don't think my sis would have, like, let me drive.
Ow!
Don't just stand there humming to yourself.
Not you too, Mia. With the whip and the punching and the pain and the ow!
Miss Miney, why do you think you would not have been allowed to drive anyway?
I think this situation calls for a more detailed testimony. Miss Miney, if you please.
Like, how annoying. Oops! Like, sorry. Didn't mean to be mean. Like, around that time, I was, like, really close to getting my license. My sis was, like, this totally big fan of cars and, like, really valued them. She, like, had just gotten this really shiny, bright red sports car. She, like, would say things like, "No way am I letting a noob drive my car." So, like, that's why I ended up in the passenger seat that night, too.
I see. A bright red car for sports. Now then, the defense may question the witness.
I'm not terribly knowledgeable about cars, but I'll do what I can. So what do you mean by really close to getting your license?
Like, I had one of those permit things. I think that's what they're called.
Permit?
Wow! The big name lawyer boy doesn't even know what a driver's permit is?
Well, this lawyer never had a permit.
Ignorance is to be whipped.
What's with her? What she said in the last few minutes is utter nonsense. So it was a new car, Miss Miney.
Yeah, she had, like, just gotten it. It was, like, from the UK.
The UK? Was that her boyfriend's initials?
And it was a really special model. She had waited a whole year for it to arrive.
Wait a minute. A British car? But during the newspaper interview, didn't she say, "Ah, that's it! I may not know much about cars, but even I know." Hold it! Miss Miney, do you remember this article? It's an article about the accident. You had said this in it, but I opened the right door and, like, got out. That's correct, isn't it?
Like, why are you suddenly asking me about that?
Your Honor, which side is the passenger seat? The left or the right?
Well, it's on the right side, of course, because the driver is on the left side.
That would be true if it were an American car, but it would be the opposite in a British car.
Opposite?
The two of them were riding in a British car. In that case, the passenger side would be on the left side.
Ah! What do you mean by this?
Miss Miney, you said you had escaped using the right side door of the car. But if you were sitting there, then that means you were in the driver's seat!
Order in the court! Order!
Mr. Phoenix Wright is blabbering nonsense again! Eney said the person who was driving was her older sister, Miney.
That is what Eney said, yes. But that is where her story falls apart. Somewhere, all of us made a big error in our assumptions.
Phoenix, it looks like you finally found the real root of this murder.
If we connect all the dots, there can only be one answer. I'd like to ask the court a question. Eney or Miney? Who was really driving that night? The answer is the one person who had her driver's license. Miney. After all, that makes her the only person who could legally drive.
But you just said the witness was the one in the driver's seat.
Which leads us to the next question.
The next...
The next question?
Who is the person standing on the witness stand right now?
What sort of idiotic ruse is this, Mr. Phoenix Wright? This witness's name is Eney.
Miney. That is your real name.
Objection! Oh, the foolish dribble! Then how do you explain her appearance?
When she was admitted into the hospital, this witness was suffering severe facial burns. So for the purpose of facial reconstruction, they used a picture.
Facial reconstruction surgery?
This is the picture she gave to the doctor at the time. It's a picture of her younger sister.
But Miney, she died in the car accident.
That's what everyone thought. However, that was not the case.
Then, the body they found at the crash site.
That was the body of the real Miney. Isn't that right, Miss Miney? That car accident 1 year ago. The one who died that night was Miney. Her sister, Mimi, then stole her face and was reborn as Eney. With this, she effectively erased Miney from existence.
Your Honor, I'm sure you can now see why Mimi had to kill Dr. Gray.
What do you mean?
What is the meaning of this nonsense?
Dr. Gray wanted to call back the spirit of a dead person. Specifically, the spirit of his nurse that died in the crash, Miney. However, that would not have been possible. Miney was still, in fact, alive. And that fact would have been discovered had the channeling been conducted. So, the witness had to stop that from happening at all costs.
And that's why she had to kill Dr. Turner Gray? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Before the channeling, Dr. Gray had the misfortune of consulting this witness about communicating with the dead. And in that moment, his fate was sealed.
Well, Miss Miney, Miss von Karma.
Why did you say my name just now?
Looks like I've been unmasked.
Witness?
That's right. I admit it. My real name is Miney. That quack doctor. He got what he deserved in the end. And I was so close to finally ditching Mimi too. So close.
But why? Why would you go so far as to throw yourself away to become your own sister?
That's about the malpractice incident.
Dr. Gray was right. The mistake was caused by the nurse. A nurse by the name of Miney. The very person standing before us today. And a few weeks after this mishap, Miney had a car accident in which she lost her younger sister.
The The timing couldn't have been worse.
14 patients dying in that incident. And her own sister's life extinguished. It was all too much to bear.
I found a way for myself to escape it all. The only way.
She lost everything in the flames of that accident. Her sister, and even her own face. This was her last chance. Her chance to throw away her past and start a new life as her sister.
Unbelievable. A plan beyond my wildest imagination.
That jerk. If only he hadn't thought of that channeling mumbo-jumbo. Becoming Eni has been the most horrible experience in the world. Spirit channeling, the occult. I hate it. I hate it all.
I believe there are still a few unsolved riddles here. Why did you set a murderous revenge plot into motion? And why did Miss Morgan Fay agree to help you with the plan? Regardless, I believe one thing has been made crystal clear.
The innocence of the defendant, Maya Fay.
This is preposterous. I am perfect. Me, Franziska von Karma.
I'm going to enjoy the news tonight, Miss Von Karma. How about you? It's going to be broadcast all over the world, right? Your defeat, that is. Ow! Ow!
And one more for good measure.
Phoenix! Hang in there, Phoenix!
This court is a fraud! A sham!
Now then, it looks like it will be some time before Mr. Ryder regains consciousness, so I will go ahead and pronounce the verdict. This court hereby finds the defendant, Maya Fay, not guilty. That is all. Court is adjourned.
Congratulations, Maya.
Yes!
It's good to see you, Maya. How are you doing?
Sis! I didn't kill anyone, did I?
No, you didn't. It was all just a dream. A really bad dream.
You know, sis, in my dream, I smelled a really familiar scent.
A familiar scent?
I was inside that clothing box, right? That was the box you used to store your clothes in a long time ago.
That's right.
There is still one thing I don't quite get.
What's that?
What would have happened if Mimi hadn't shot Dr. Gray? I mean, we broke in because we heard a gunshot.
I think Miney had planned to open the door to the chamber herself. And then, you and Lotta would have witnessed quite a scene. A possessed Maya Fay who had just committed a murder.
She had it planned down to the smallest detail, huh?
Nick!
Congrats, Maya.
Thanks! Looks like you bailed me out of another jam.
Well, you know.
I'm fine because I have you to help me out, Nick. But every time something happens, I lose someone special to me. First my sister, and now my aunt. Hey, Nick, tell me why my aunt went and did something so horrible? Why would she help Miss Mimi with a plan like that? I just don't understand it, Nick.
Maya, it's over. Why don't we just let it be?
Nick, please, I need an answer.
It's obvious, isn't it? She did it for pearls.
Pearly?
4 years from now, a new master will be born into Carrion Village. And that person will be you, Maya.
And?
But if you weren't there, then the main family's bloodline would disappear. And what would happen then?
The Branch family. My aunt.
No, Morgan's spiritual power is too weak. The next person would be Pearl's. Everything was done for her sake. It was all so Pearls would become the next master.
Yeah, I can see that. I thought so.
My precious Pearl, you are the only one suitable to be the master of Orion, dear child. I sacrificed it all for you. I helped that brainless nurse carry out her murder, and cooperated with that whip-happy prosecutor. It was all to unseat that annoying, witless Maine family girl. That Maya Fey. But I shall be patient, my dearest Pearl. A chance will present itself. Your time will come.